Civilization,
as we know it,
has the scent,
of a terminal illness.
and in turn, we each move to a hole in the wall.
A glory hole patriotic bunting is arranged around.
Some face forward,
Some back.
according to the law,
Enter O,
distracted,
with her hair down.
playing on a lute.
Each knows best for him or herself what silence and nostalgia blooms behind every mask.
Human beings are the holes in this planet,
And if we leave
if even for a moment,
our bodies unattended, they will be towed.
like proverbial ships to nowhere.
When will we elect a president who was an advertising executive?
Stabbing him.
After killing, I keep trembling.
I can't eat or talk.
I keep imagining the person begging not to be killed.
When I could see again,
After the blinding, terrifying flash,
I was looking at the sun whirling without motion, edging the mountains.
she kneels down.
A knock.
Just give me 5 minutes.
Let me get used to this.
Shaving in the shower, I think of my father,
The pain welling up in another life.
and I feel it in my throat.
Dies.
There's the thing
What really happens.
in there.
But it's important to note that no event occurs on the outside.
What happens is never fully reported.
Only what appears to BVR
Yet, lives as we know it
are based on
the possibility
that through experience,
we might know something outside.
MRE,
It is like when we were children drawing stick figures of picnics
circuses,
and friends barely seemingly grazed.
but into which and whom we've poured our lives.
They leave us.
And the choice is whether they do so open or closed.
Striking him.
We give up our energy, kidefos,
We live but like ghouls,
sleepwalkers,
simply alive,
or perhaps not even alive,
pear-shaped,
blue-eyed Jodies,
bennies,
and phobot farmers on the rainbow flight.
What nonsense am I writing?
What I really want to talk about is what's happening here.
But how?
In each flea mingle 3 lives, and even if we bleed the dog dry, the waste remains
Remains and kills.
only closer.
Just give me 5 minutes. Let me get used to
Moreover,
this.
the saner we are, the more likely we are to be bled.
Shut up and color.
I am water.
I am a wren.
I am a workman,
I am a star.
aka serpent.
The god Tethra ruled, arisen from the furrows of the earth, butter pumping jizz into her hair.
It's the dissolution of the thing,
Property,
the meeting.
the third,
It's all,
the betweens constant,
and each coupling to varying degrees of heat teems with the insatiate human.
near thy thigh to me,
Enter D.
attended.
There's a plastic bag for everything on earth.
Exeunt with the dead march.
This awful war, when is it going to end?
Never.
I possess only the living answer.
The firm filling flesh,
How it feels to tear again.
in crisis as in birth,
The ring changes bring.
like new weapons.
We see each other through veils of fire.
Tongues of smoke,
Too tired to talk to lions, we sit in steerage,
notepads open on our laps,
carving cursive arcs of devotion to the mangle.
our faces are mashed,
A fire.
a pier, laying down her dagger,
A nagging part of us wants to be taken,
whacked,
fooled,
hurt,
succored,
duped,
burnt,
erased,
raped,
and left in the woods, glaze-eyed, gazing up through the branches of the tree.
to which we are lied, saying,
I knew it.
the assassins hid behind the north wind,
All we saw was sawdust
code turds,
and
and
that chick.
laws are true.
And those who attack them don't understand the beauty when the wheels hum and it's all greased smooth,
Vibrating and trickling along the sidewalls,
how moist they tense at the upper limits of which
music,
is a thunder against silence falling to pieces.
M-L-T, sun.
Kneel. Where were we?
He reads the letter,
Points to his head and shoulder.
dies.
Words that matter leave mine shattered.
We evolve readings,
Webs of meaning.
auguries,
Some are content to spin the radical out,
while others confront raw what's at its back.
but it doesn't matter.
Utter acquiescence is the same as fulminations.
We've no control.
It's all goat rope.
We're in flight.
Arrival doubtful.
We know only we hang.
Yet nothing else is worth dying over.
Even to smash away outs one remove, but life's not worth dying over.
On every front at once.
Yet nothing else is worth dying over.
Plays music within.
So the beloved bird ventured into flight.
Or maybe the best way is just to ignore it.
Verbal ability
And camaraderie.
are put to their greatest test when encircled.
The term
Siege mentality,
came into use to describe,
the frightened conduct of some.
but a well-trained, ideologically free force is not disturbed by this sort of campaign.
They don't panic,
Dig in,
duck assaults,
move with stealth.
the cup and await nightfall,
Their natural ally.
Make no mistake,
To stop such a force is difficult.
exeunt all the plebeians, dragging off sea,
Giving the paper,
raising his voice,
no animal can be as bestial as man,
the conqueror of outer space.
but scientists will find nothing.
How can they?
Life's an absurd torment.
We must somehow, as pleasantly as possible, get to the end of it,
Alarum,
flourish.
a cry within of women.
An order we cannot conceive is chaos.
What counts is the lightning, unexpected kiss.
Goes into the pulpit,
Faints,
skewer grapholectic eye.
this munching on a rind.
I'm watching her, watching me die.
To parse, get at,
We are parting with description,
to come to facts,
operation of determining both excerpts in terms of what is false more than true.
facts equal
Surprised wanderers, disheveled by a sudden wind,
or I love to believe that we are all free,
to partake and babble,
to lord over the fake,
gobble up the lake of flame,
of soul of mire,
This requires not only
turning from him.
dies,
A woman seemed to be holding me,
held me from behind,
right in the temple,
bit IV tube completely in two,
started moaning,
turned head from left to right,
began speaking spontaneously, exeunt omnes,
man down.
wreathed in propaganda and ruled by a scarecrow of warning,
We sow into the dirt fear.
shove crises into the minds of daisies, where they open and hold and work for us.
The piss cold pale sanction.
Falls on his sword.
The only interesting people in America have died and look back between their shoulders through outcast eyes.
Targets on their back.
They take hold the very small holes,
Hieroglyphics.
vanishing points where there's only sun.
And the very small notes of prism,
They bear by without return,
aka memory,
aka self.
multiplicity.
He hacks at him.
Who or how or what we are not to say.
But to pile all the notes in one place is no good.
Rather, we must spread them across associative planes to feed the brave but frightened helmet-headed exiles and strangers.
What nonsense am I
For what
writing?
grows from the
What I really
bottom,
want to talk about is what's happening
not
here.
talk.
But how? In
Though the
each
fruit
flea
must
they
fall,
three
and
lives.
then divine
And even
gaze
if
up.
it bleeds, the dog
To the
dry,
head
waste
return its dark path.
remains and
Its
kills.
detour
Only
of
closer.
momentary
Moreover,
visibility
the
and
saner we are, the
mortality.
more likely
The
we
raison
are to be
d'etre of
bled.
language. It's
Funny
funny.
how musical,
Things are when
when
they are hollow.
sound of a flourish. With drums, exit the plebeians.
Corpse brought out.
Its flopping, inflated body, a travesty.
I did eat some of its interior.
But that was extended to me.
It was crazy.
What is not known and will never be known.
Is the man whose body nourished us.
It was only one,
But his name will never be spoken. The great profile,
the sudden jolt.
made of sand.
Happy tasks for the sorry caged animal.
Dull edges biting into things.
A con becomes airborne when the flow of deceit attains a complexity sufficient to reduce common sense appearance to illusion.
The knot tightening at the back of our heads.
I am the
Aeol.
star, aka
At this moment,
serpent.
the
God,
operation
Tethra,
floats
rule,
free from
arisen
reality.
From the furrows
Moreover,
of the
in
earth.
principle,
Utter pictures
there is
your
no
hair.
difference between a white echo check and a global fix.
Though the larger, more pervasive the deceit, the more mind share it must bewitch.
On the one hand, I practice every precaution,
And on the other, there are times when I feel too calm
perhaps,
and begin to feel small satisfactions.
or I look at those uniform toys and feel sorry for them, she writes. At the same time, I want to laugh in their faces.
Say to them,
How stupid you are.
where is your power?
But circulating among those people,
Investing in my new personality and convincing them that I'm one of them.
my hidden self observes all,
Knocking within.
sleeps.
Organized crime has so penetrated our lives, we cannot reveal all we know, but stop at certain thresholds,
A line that must not be traversed,
beyond which
encased in silence and darkness.
the truth hangs like a specter.
Knock.
Trapdoor opens.
For a long time, this is
Characters, a catacomb of trap doors.
Secret gardens and facades Mirrors redouble.
Every eye dotted invisibly by demise.
But
But no direct path leads to fate.
That's the fun.
Sensation,
Human thunderstorms.
explosive patterns.
But we have to close our eyes.
I shut myself inside.
With time, I forget everything.
He said that he would prefer to die drowning,
I have been a mud bank.
and I have lived in the sun. It's been a long time since we've lived in the sun.
He fails.
Set booby traps with hand grenades.
After 10 days in the swamp,
We drank our own urine.
enter messenger hastily.
We are all fellow passengers.
And each of us has really only a moment among companions.
In fact, it's a glass mountain.
Of course,
That's why the real words are those we cannot go anywhere with.
Can't take further.
That means that while
Interpret,
we
twist,
stay afloat, we may
or
count on
burn.
a certain
They're
residual
there.
surface
Hard as a
turpitude
headland
to keep the
dotted
Duke
with
rattled
trees.
right.
AKA
Id
letters.
das Fos. Certainly, when a full-blown viral
The dog
con's
barks.
going, its
It is not dead.
manufacturers
But
can
nothing
count on
moves
such
inside my
turbo
head.
momentum.
Deep
However, a real
crime
loss of
fogs
power,
the
such as the
paradigm.
change in governance
Life
or
has
systematic
damaged the
change in
frames.
information
They
technology,
rest there.
may cause
Names
over
and
time a
numerals.
substantial
What I
drain.
write,
This
the tip
may
of.
tear the
only
MK
what
marks
moves
away.
makes sense.
If the game's not swiftly
Bolo.
adapted, a gap then may form
I talk
and its
to
roots
them
exposed.
in their own language.
For the dupe, it'll be the equivalent of that
Command
handheld
finally fatally
scale
incompetent.
Over the
Such
rainbow
moments,
streaked
vision
and
may
fretted
become attached
with
to
effort like a
precious
bag of
objects
smashed
residual
assholes.
power.
Though also deadly and glacier-eyed, oh dark hundred.
Again, one may count on momentum as well as the near universal.
I talk to them in their own language.
A silent language only they understand.
Foot tracks across the snow.
I talk to them
All my pretty lambs.
without knowing I am there.
Actually want an outright collapse.
Power
Is an institutionalized evil.
and every generation a witch finding unit emerges to flush out.
Fresh meat.
Information
Aside.
be applied, degrading the signal
Hopes
by
the muzzle on which the
introducing
native
ample
gags
ambiguities.
And
and
the
the
beast
Cast adrift
feeds.
so many mildly
Be still.
still enter ease with the casket.
The dishes are uncovered and seem to be full of warm water.
It's
We
the
may
human
even cut the
begin,
lie
but
over
rather,
ourselves,
instead of
which
everyone
serves the
being on
function
their own
of
crime
both
spree, to
Thunder.
centralize
wreckage,
and coordinate
as
the
well as
process.
seeming to be
The greatest surprise
And the deceit on which the whole show depends.
is the separation of means and end. We must move in.
The woods
Among the trees,
are allies.
slight gray body bag,
A disaster inside. A silver gelatinous.
milky fur smudges the damaged images. A film silent but deadly,
The horse was covered in fur.
in slaughter,
In the dark at the back of it,
an exchange cycle of emasculations is enacted.
the palmed over places.
The boar wound,
To centralize and coordinate the process.
D throws the body of B into the pit,
then exuent D,
and C.
dragging off D.
At this point, he gropes toward the forward area and the cockpit.
We watch him
SOL.
through the monitor.
Bang the door,
We can't hear him
but see his face fart
yelling
or something.
LOL.
For all he knows,
We're
we're Foxtrot dead. KIA.
on autopilot, waiting to auger in when
Dead stick.
the engines suck vapor.
Sound ascendant.
Welcome to Earth House.
Within.
Welcome to Hive Trash.
Perched among books on a lotus.
Window to the world. UXO.
In front of me, snapping to attention.
A 3 or 4 face structure in rapid fire succession.
Under an apple tree by
By
pure meditation.
On a Friday evening
In the season of apples.
when the moon is full.
Enter another messenger with a letter.
Fish in the fountain of pure virgin.
We serve at their pleasure.
Stillness. Pink light.
Pours poison in his ears.
I like the moment it goes in, most wet at the rim.
Tide that drags to death.
When is it going to end?
I am the pink child peeking out from inside the arch.
Solid as we may appear,
However,
a verbal iconography
a deep blankness,
surrounds us.
or while the zone's singular at which the void out of that weight groans,
It bristles with entry points.
wounds,
Its apogee seized from any tangent.
and joy to touch each.
To run hands and eyes along.
Again,
However,
to get inside is everything.
but that interiority is
Foobar, choked off.
rustling,
To be there, we must turn,
flip,
bring fore to aft,
or in must out.
though it itself's not an act,
Consciousness only frames.
but what bristle may mean,
We brush or graze it.
the falling,
The bruise,
aka ecstasy,
kindling,
gorgeous prologue of growth,
Startling
pillars and fluttering nightingale.
covered well on the hill,
But who turns?
who looks under the hill,
Emphasize only the living
Everything
answer.
pertaining to what's
Confirm
happening
filling
is
flesh.
yet to
How it
surface.
feels to tear
the
again in crisis as it
nostalgiadelic,
the ring changes
necrophilic,
brain, like new weapons,
peloxophilic
we see each
mushrooms,
other through veils of fire.
Enter a
Tongues of
company
fire,
of mutinous
smoke.
citizens.
with staves
Talk to
clubs,
lions
and
we
other
sit next
weapons.
to. Notepads open on our laps.
Hiretosuk,
Arcs of devotion
The
to
six-man privy was located on a knoll.
50 feet west,
appear.
From the direction of the knoll came a fusillade of sharp rapping sounds.
like 2 boards clapped together,
Framed screens on hinges covered each individual hole in the facility.
yet an occasional scorpion had been found on the other side of the boards.
It had become, therefore, the custom
To give a few sharp raps with the screen lid before assuming the position.
regarding the Khan's airborne nature.
Those of us who studied physics in high school will remember the principle of Bernoulli's theorem.
Which states that when a gas is in motion,
Pressure falls.
as flow speed increases.
That's what the camber in a wing's critical angle of attack plays on,
It's why in a con we front load the frustration.
and the flow
In this case of latrine grams,
is sped by self-anger.
He killed her.
self-anger's force is the great determinant.
Don't mix.
But what do we mean by self-anger?
Or what's anger?
Or even self, for that matter,
But look at these words,
as a neologism.
self-anger.
If we are able mentally to uncouple its semantic parts
Self and anger.
or sound them,
We feel another hidden sense.
self-anger,
Self-anger is that which enfangs
puts teeth to.
the cell and simultaneously bites itself.
Truth is,
Open or shut.
neither will do. Dilligath.
The reason this garden is here for us to enjoy is we murder those who interfere.
and take an increasing share of incoming
They stab C.
The top 10%.
It was more diaphragm than diaphragm.
It was more diagram than diagram, the way the plan made us feel near impervious,
Backstopped and easy.
bouncy on the deep reaches and open to let go,
Cut loose the wild goose.
hands in the air, waving to the crowd an emotion,
We were even free in the choice of place,
as well as mode,
by which to traverse that line from which decency
formerly
formerly
shrank.
shrank.
The diaphragm's fear,
And helmeted.
badged and collared, we are its sanction.
We ourselves planted gingerly that first cross and then
Unchallenged,
its subsequent doubling,
quadrupling, and
exultant.
finally its infinite warp woof of bewildering progression until today the land is so studded with crosses
Trespasses
no angel could thumb a ride,
through America.
delivering the drug of choice to
yet no mark survives.
Really, no
life
land.
circles called
Only
campaign
words
contributions,
drained of
and Tony
blood
Soprano would call
And
brains.
brains in a mishmash of faults
marriage, money, and
misfires,
politics
and conundrum.
has produced an
more
America of
tantalizing
gross
than
inequality
any
at the
rupture
top
it
and
once
low
staked.
social mobility at the bottom.
Key to the con is release,
To let pressure ease.
and so allow digestive intervals during which the people may return to.
Corporate tasks and in earnest to corporate tasks and leisures.
Time seems to stand still,
I thought the arch merely a gateway.
but it's much thicker than I imagined.
Moreover, instead of moving straight into the structure,
I'm standing in the shade of an echoing chamber,
curved whiteness smoothed around me.
swallowing my voice as I fall back to the other side.
I can't feel my head.
We've come to another parting of the way, and once again,
The attendants part them.
And they come out of the grave.
with Jim Hightower and I
I don't think it will end.
Why should it?
How?
democracy only works when we claim it.
Kills himself.
I have been a butterfly.
If one wants the truth, go to where it lies.
The assassins
At the bottom
hid behind
of an
the
endless
north wind.
hole,
All we
There
saw was
alone,
sawdust,
in the depth of
coated
importance
turds, and that
to which all things return,
Powers made credible.
WTFO. Her head thrown back.
I alone have seen this vision of the end.
The milk-white breasts and kings housed after death in spiral glass castles.
They grapple with each other.
Bust up composition into parts and hit each until later whole can be nailed up.
In the end,
Plug.
I found the house.
But it's
Broke
all
cold
holes.
nose in the goo
Porous,
Perforated.
stairs and
lacy.
light.
Those
And
stains.
all unlighted
Each
hallways
of my
in the world.
answers
A
tears.
slit of light under a door.
The head was a pattern of foliage.
And I stood there, holding my ball.
Exeunt. Alarum continues still far off.
There's no such thing as crime because we carry out what we
Carry in
wheels that encircle,
like a clam
spiraling to a center,
and coming out again.
to enflower in the tusks of a mattress wires.
A many-headed, shredded silence in the power tower.
Laws are true,
Knocking
and
within.
those who attack them
I
don't
think
understand the
about
beauty when the
what it
wheels
would be
hum
like
and it's all
to
greased,
patent
smooth,
language.
vibrating and
Not
trickling
just
along
giving
the
letter or
sidewalls,
word patterns.
moist and tense at the upper limits
Either,
of which
but the whole
music
shooting
is
match
the thunder against
to
the
owe
silence.
and lease its use.
and punish its misuse.
And then it occurs to me, if we control its dissemination, we've in essence the same thing.
So we might say our awful, lawful aims geared toward this,
Backed by coercion,
like a translucent plastic fishing line passed through the meat of tongues holding us one.
but always some first acrimonious son, etc.,
But to make shorter,
blunter any tear.
L,
let the
T,
pecker
sons,
squeeze
kneel.
off a round of
But I am only trying to
before gutting him,
actually write
it out
of my head
to focus
on
a word
until it's read,
she writs.
but the scope's out of whack.
Have to feel it forward,
The head,
an unsure path,
faster.
faster. Enter the gates.
Why take only 3 birds into the nest?
How many in the bush?
I saw hers,
Hiding,
was,
felt,
on the good ship Lollipop, will I dream?
view the words and the characters behind the words to which they are wed.
And the trees behind the characters,
The hands,
manipulations
enter fool.
from the hovel.
He came into the bar through the bathroom window.
A gray or overcast, thin man.
Nondescript.
Sparks, farts, fragments of names, whispers of how it really went.
There is no description that we may apply, like a blade, like a plowed blade shaving a shadow.
In his
Where were we?
eyes, he had silhouettes.
The serpent king's mark was on him.
A boot print at his heart.
I am no longer curious about how word is passed from one government agency to another, wherein the ones engaged in activities, the others responsible for preventing.
Because it's all inside the suck.
There's no without.
Or alpha wipes are painting it sunrise and sunset.
Grace to graze to grease all over the place, oils of varied maintenance.
Films through which fires found itself enthroned in nightly worship.
Growing up in the burbs, lounging in our dying rooms before sallow, blue-banked shadows, back barfing our shame.
Thunder and lightning.
Enter 3 witches. Enter M, bleeding.
Assaulted by the enemy.
I've built dictionaries and have been a river
Are we ready?
to the gentleman.
Who goes out?
BFM
They shoot.
wounds his arm. By now, of course, we are all thoroughly adjusted to operating in these vacuums where no one knows anything about anything.
Wounds his arm.
Words that matter, leave mind
We
shattered.
must keep in mind we are living at the height of a revolutionary era
Everything must be organized now.
on every front at once.
Innumerable, multidimensional gnats biting a giant from within and without.
Both in front and rear,
To exhaust with savage tongues the
the
western heart.
Or maybe the best way is just ignore it.
Deprive the beast, the hopes and fears on which it feeds.
We evolved readings,
Enter a
webs
company
meanings,
of soldiers.
auguries, Some are content to spin the radical out,
His hands
while
and
others
face are
confront
red
Ra
as a royal
at its
sign.
back. But it
Ide
doesn't matter.
tali
Utter
risosa.
acquiescence is the same as
Excellent musicians.
fulminations. We've no control. It's all
No
road
single
movement.
fraud
We're in
Graft,
flight.
or gag will
Arrival
put it across.
doubtful.
But buried
We
at
know
the roots
only
of
we hang.
self-anger, it must be
Even to
systematic
smash
and
and
viral.
viral, almost
by one
self-sustaining and
removed suicide.
perpetuating.
But life's
The
not
hustle
worth
must
dying
bristle
over.
at every node within the
Yet nothing
information
else
complex.
is worth dying
Like the
over.
psychedelic glow of the fireball of a nuclear event formerly superimposed over every city skyline in our minds.
This requires not only repetition,
Key to the art of endless war.
but also inflection over time.
So while in principle every lie, like murder, is the same,
In practice, the job on any big con is
as noted,
considerably harder.
Of pertinent facts far outweigh the
terror equals monitor.
Adventure in flight.
All our sense impressions may be layered over the 26 or so seconds an average human urination requires.
An indistinguishable longing, and the wind carries her song.
Discipline, verbal ability, and camaraderie are put to their greatest test when encircled.
Few
The term
have known
siege
community,
mentality
But
came
instead
into
we
use
have
to
politics.
describe
shadow
the
of
conduct
technologies
some.
dedicated to
But a
manufacturing
well-trained,
zombies.
ideologically free force is not disturbed by
Music
this sort
of
of campaign.
hobos is under the
They
stage.
don't panic, dig in, duck
Digging.
assaults, move with stealth the
Every
cup,
being's
and await
two-faced.
nightfall, their natural
One's
ally.
turned out.
Make
one
no
in.
mistake to stop
To
such
starboard,
force is
I
difficult.
padlocked on a tiny splinter edged with white,
Guys,
A cockle shell like the one we were in, disguised
designed and fabricated and riveted together
to carry souls away from where they belong.
into
Exeunt all
lugubrious
plebeians, dragging
elements
off,
where they've no kin.
giving the paper.
The big commotion was getting pretty close.
Alarums,
They fight.
E falls. M is shut in.
For a long time, this had been this happy, honky hunting ground.
we're still in a great place. Though the back of it manacled and hooded.
Though its application is scaled,
Stressing night
power is key to sustained deceit.
To lose it in a superficial lie simply halts its immediate utility.
We are still on the ground and can step back and introduce an alternative subterfuge to divert attention from the bent area.
Of course, there isn't any fixity
In me there are
equivalent to
ECPs
land
on
in the
radar
realm
as
of
far as
bronze.
time.
Rather,
We
all
have
swimming.
them, and may from the top
That
of our
means that
heads
while
to
we
our
stay
toes
afloat,
open
we may
our
count
minds.
on a certain residual
Moment to moment,
surface
what no
turpitude
animal
to
can
keep
be
the
as
juice
best as
rattled.
man, the
Right,
conqueror of outer
ide
space.
fos.
But
Certainly,
scientists will
With a
find
full-blown
nothing. How can
viral
they?
cons going,
Life's an
Its
absurd
manufacturers may
torment.
count
We must
on.
somehow,
such
as
turbo
pleasantly as
momentum.
possible, get to the end of it.
However, a real loss of power
such as a change in governance or systematic change in information technology.
may cause over time a
After what
substantial
time we have
drain.
has gone through,
This
there's
may
always
tear
some
the
left
mark
unused,
away.
unsaid,
If the game's
to gather
not
and
swiftly
dangle
adapted.
out ahead.
A gap may
Darkness
form.
and,
and its
terror.
roots exposed.
The craters
But this is
immediately
rare.
under the
Again.
monster.
One may count on momentum, as well as the near universal human tendency to prefer anything
including delusion.
Be still.
to facing
Be
the
still.
potential
Be still.
emptiness
Be
its
still. Be still.
evisceration
Be still.
may
Be
lead.
still. Be still. Be still.
To
Be
use
still.
that
Be still.
momentum,
Be still.
however,
Be still.
assuming
Be
we do
still.
not
Be
actually
still.
want
Be
an
still.
outright
Be still.
collapse.
Be still.
and
Be
disruption
still.
of
Be
life
still. Be
pattern
still.
and
Be
other
still. Be still.
inconveniences.
Be still.
including
Be
criminal
still. Be still.
prosecution,
Be
for
still.
example.
Be
We
still. Be
must
still.
control
Be
the
still.
terms of
Be
its
still. Be still.
dismemberment.
Be still.
Information
Be still. Be
surges
still.
Must be
still.
applied
degrading the signal,
by separating us from its methodically introducing ample ambiguity
or cast adrift so many mildly plausible lines
to follow, that substance becomes intermingled interminably with shadow.
Or if we control the images, we control the picture.
Within of women.
Moreover, we may even cut the lie open ourselves,
which serves the function of both,
separating us from its wreckage,
as well as seeming to be the hero of the story.
and the frog becomes a prince,
History is rife with such master reverse cons.
just as it is with revolutions.
Statecraft's crash sites.
TLAR,
Draw the conspirators.
and kills M.
Who falls A?
Enter
A stands over
the guard
him.
of
They sit.
Welcome to Earth House.
Welcome to hive of tragic activity.
I am a stainless fish in the fountain of pure virgin gasped.
Stillness.
an
Silence
order we
Pink
cannot
light.
conceive as chaos.
through closed
What
eyelids.
counts is the lightning
Reeds.
unexpected kiss.
Consciousness is oracular and built underground in the beehive style derived from African ghost houses.
Dressed in rose petals,
Psychomantic priestesses
preside in this navel shrine.
through which the spiraled pythons cunningly entwine.
A lapping sound is heard in the dark.
Queer bat-like voices,
The peeping and muttering of souls.
low march within.
Startling thought occurs to me.
Maybe they don't know much more about
into the
us
pulpit.
than we do about them.
Perhaps the thoroughly developed policy of no one knowing anything he or she doesn't absolutely have to know is a two-way street.
Even to the point where they aren't entirely sure who they are themselves,
We all slide.
like bees.
Skewer
Slabs.
graphylactic
Slip
eye,
and
flourishing
slip.
our rise. I am watching her, watching me
Like
die.
kingdom for a
To
coat.
parse the emotions, we are parting with description, to come to facts, the operation of
Only the
determining
money's
both
real.
excerpts in
To
terms
watch the
of what
money
is
dance.
false or
To
untrue,
dart as
coded
fast
to
as
some
money.
culture
As
fable.
light,
Crest of the
without
surge,
wetting our
for
knickers.
tension
The
spikes,
hand that stabs into every
predicated on
wallet.
near-term
but its
collapses,
life cannot be seen.
catastrophes
It's
that
really
bristle at the
zero
edge
and
of
moon
the moon,
beams.
the
But the
monitor.
money alone is real, to which
But mingled
flesh
in Earth's
appends,
dust
and on
is the
which
measure of
beast
beauty.
feeds.
Facts
Be
equal
still.
surprise.
It is that
wanderers
whispering
not lips of eyes
knocks.
sudden wind.
We kiss with 100
Or I love to
ecstasies.
Low
believe that
alarms.
we are all free to partake
It was a
and
closed
babble
body
to
band.
lord over the fake.
A
Gobble
wooden
up the
bench
lake, the flame
attached to
of
each
soul.
side wire.
He
Turning
said
from
not
him,
to talk
turning
or make
from
any
him,
noise.
turning
Slam
from
the
him,
hatch
from
and we
him,
farted off.
turning from
Sounds
him,
of
turning from
heavy
him,
Street traffic
and constant stopping
and
and
starting.
Then long stretches of donkey
turning from him,
foxtrot,
turning from
Diddy
him,
bopper
turning from him,
hours.
turning from him,
watching brain cells
turning
Enter
enter
a
from him, turning from
RDF,
from him,
a smoke
turning
crack,
turning
a
from
bean
turning
house.
from him, turning from him,
runs on his
turning from
sword.
turning from him, turning from turning from him, turning from
The
turning
determination to
from
keep
turning
the
from
SOB
turning
alive
from
sprang in
turning
part
from
from
him,
the embarrassment of
turning
calling it
from
off.
him, turning,
Hiding the mess
turning
now
from
would be like
turning,
trying to
turning,
cover a plate of
turning.
jello with one hand.
You'd need a very big hand or cluster foxtrot of fisters
9 times out of 10.
He
Thus the garden
dies.
must also taste and
within,
touch. Thus water,
The
which
go,
follows
no-go
natural law, but all
OSM
laws
was
say
made
no more
long
than it
before
takes
we
to
left the
prove.
penthouse.
He held the water down by hand, so it wouldn't taste
Most of
like
our lives
steel.
we've
the
been
truth
hooded.
is not
As for the
omitted.
By hooded,
It's
picture
where the
any
absence
prophylactic,
is.
concrete
Where we are.
identifications.
Vents that let the beast breathe,
And we're inside.
With a black
not
facade
extraneous,
over the heads of those who
Centripetal.
take
not
corporate
fugal.
culture.
The
In both
made
cases,
long
the
before we
function
left the
is to make
penthouse.
their
The head
wearers
throws
more
back.
quiet. though noting,
The
and
suck.
importantly, in terms of understanding
It
degrees of
completes
separation,
quickly.
the former
Complexes
provides
goes
isolates, whereas the latter
MVR.
don't.
There can be no
In fact,
visualization of the
sometimes
brain's
detained have
interior.
their
The
eyes
many
taped
faces,
shut,
moments
in addition
mount,
to being blacked
scrambling for the cock holster.
Hoods the con, namely, there exists a
WTFO.
separation formed of word pap between how and what
Her
we
head
believe
thrown
we are,
back.
our beginnings and ends, and what's
In
happening,
the end, I found
going
the
on
house.
around us,
And groped
within which
cold
we
nosed in the
unbeknownst
goo
see
up
dies,
the
no
second
sweat.
floor stairs.
And locked
Feet, however,
at
may
the
be
end
partially
of the
free,
unlighted
and even
hallways
hands,
of
and
the
we
world
may gesture a little.
on a slit
Holding
of
the
light
secrets
under
too,
a
holding
door.
me shallow,
The place
held me
smelt of
from
boiled
behind,
cabbage.
right in the
And I
temple.
stood there holding my balls,
Beat it up.
bohica.
Search engines and browsers.
Every part of speech
Sleeps,
is a
sleeps. What government
Black
will happily
hole sucking
permit its
a
subjects
hearty
to free
psych
themselves
op
from its
cocktail.
own rhetoric?
raising his
Just as the
voice.
show heats up, what theater troupe throw up the lights?
Enter the messenger
or
as
draw aside the
before.
curtains to reveal
But how
an
far
empty
can I go
stage?
without telling the truth?
It is then
How
we
long
lose our
Dangle
illusions,
leads and
but it
starts.
survived even after the end of
Wags.
our hopes.
Snarls,
Sparks.
farts,
stick
Fragments
cops,
of names.
inks,
whispers of how it
sleeps,
really went
inks,
down.
And is still
ink spot,
The creeps show to know slow or quick we are coming unhinged.
The connections.
Always at best tenuous.
Slipping.
NMC,
To turn the old key.
a tremor.
Let's
tremor.
break this one too. and
But
then
I
they'll be
only
equal.
nibble the edge of darkness,
Sprinkle its crumbs into my pipe bowl and then
touching fire
suck up where I cannot see
just past my nose.
what remains of this creep show.
Train eyes
Steps
past
forth.
these words.
To where an afterburn may
Singe, dystopic, myopic, gangrene, prismatic, capitalist propaganda.
Steps
riot
by
in
seat,
machine.
completely motionless, started
stop
talking,
cock.
turning head from left to
Few
right,
things matter.
began speaking spontaneously.
The axes we grind,
On more than
POC,
one occasion, this
Access
has saved
to
my life.
excess.
if even only its mouth.
Raises her.
Drums and trumpets sound.
With great shouts of the people,
Enter G,
led by.
an old man.
Cut to scene of
Exhumed
meeting.
omnes.
Sounds of nature,
Monstrous.
language,
Lantern.
power,
Naked.
versus the pattern in which it's become fixed.
Brief
Paranoia
propaganda
runs deep
and
through the
by
salvo.
scarecrow.
The wreck
Warning.
etched in mind
So,
aches,
the dirt
Misfires.
zone
Shove
outs,
Christ's ease
Profiles
into the
in
minds of
storage
daisies.
in black
Enter
boxes.
Then print hold
Racks
and
of
attend
body
work for us.
parts.
This
Nobody
cold,
can
pale
see in.
sanction.
In the stillness, maggots work.
We can't get
Stepping
dark
back
enough
and
to slip past.
Grip what it does,
And show the way it's closed.
but before they close, they wave,
Between thighs marvelous with dew,
sound.
flourish.
They weren't going to let him leave.
Looking on the jewel.
I thought I would die.
Dies.
My name did not touch me.
F escapes.
But its very end, leaving the inside open to
We're
so
still in
many
a great
others,
place.
like chance
Though
rain
at the
pouring
back
down
of it,
from the clouds.
Manacled and hooded,
Or we're not
You
all
laughed and told
cross-dressing
everybody
night
that I had
goggles,
mistaken the Tower of
psychopaths,
Babel
building
for
a
Noah
chest
in his
of
drunkenness.
breasts,
like the medals
This last
generals
phrase, by
mint.
the way,
and
is a
sport
steal from
at fashion
Kafka.
shows.
There are others.
to the fool.
The unslit frame
The
X.
proportion of accident in my picture of the
You
road
don't want the
falls
children
to
to
the
see
rain.
this.
Sometimes
What
at
grown-ups
night,
will
I
do
hear
to goose the tom-tom.
You told me that the poorer houses down by the
Keeping
river
some
stay at
gold.
the level of the flood.
Drum.
But the world divides into facts like surprise
Trumpets.
wanderers dishevelled by a sudden wind.
Flourish.
When you
piece
stopped
goes off.
preparing clothes from the
Within.
ancient misogynists, it was clear that you would
The
soon
gamblers
forget
all
my
get
speech.
rich.
The workers poor.
That guy in the white t-shirt,
He looks like a working man.
not too muscled,
Slight build, but wiry.
a bit roughed over.
Like he's seen hard times.
That street camp bruised look.
A real chagoon.
The whole
On the waterfront.
mystique.
Tough men hauling fruit off the boats.
The wash.
White noise.
Over-information.
To bury it in media
Hard anymore to
fear
grasp.
equals the unintended.
has gone over
It
the
hugs,
falls.
holds in state.
Except stay where it
And
appears.
what we don't,
On the lip.
where what we need
lose
is
our
here,
jaws,
scrambling
our
to
brains,
render what
eye
a
sockets.
pang.
Lose
Sick,
the door
sick,
and it's
sick,
jams
sick.
or whatever.
Pry the wad out.
The interval.
Come up raw with the head of a mushroom.
Oh.
Alarum afar off.
As at a sea fight.
But it's not just bread, but energy, of which food's a form.
Who or how or what we are
As
not to
we
say.
are ourselves,
But to
the
pause all
energy
the notes of one place
inextricably
and there goes.
interwoven.
Rather, we must
With the
spread
affairs
them
of the
across
universe,
associated
governments
planes to
perform.
feed the brave but frightened,
Yet we give it up.
helmet-headed exiles
Replaced by a
and
fiction
strangers.
called
The people
Forward grows, it
Mass
does,
of
from the
Corporate
bottom, not top.
Bureaucracies.
to which we
The
cough
first
up
must
our
fall, and
souls.
then divine, gaze up. To
Storm
the head
and
return
tempest.
its darkest path, its detour of momentary
She
visibility
roared her
and
song.
mortality. The
She
raison
knew it
d'etre
had no end
of
because
language.
Neither had her journey form.
Brainwashed by the societies we live
her song had no words.
Emotions of any one
Returning
time,
thousand-fold
So I'm going to talk
echoes.
about that in this room.
seem to
Through the sunken
What
ruins
you
of speech and rituals.
within a year they crumble.
Information's dazzling.
A music that calls to
It's
a
funny
light
how
behind
musical things are when they
More
are
than any
hollow.
pattern.
The occasional
Stepping
loud
back and
retort
back.
of a backfire
We're
washed
specs
over the
now.
camp. All the Americans started
She roared
crying.
her song.
She knew it had no end.
Neither had her journey form.
Information's dazzling.
A music that calls to a light behind it.
More than any pattern.
Her song had no words.
Returning thousandfold echoes through the sunken ruins of speech and ritual.
Stepping back and back.
We're specks now.
In fact, we disappear.
That's the magic.
Its act can be caught at any moment. It's there, not there.
Life's magic because of this.
It's the center,
Not end
or drop,
or result.
and there is no beginning either.
But I can get us born
Into the infinity of the shapes of its flow,
from whence we know
namely start.
an actuality.
I deny them categorically.
Defective.
I can't tell everything.
Apparently.
No ammo.
Painted with markings.
No record strike.
Abandoned.
Kisses, tea,
I thought that the public is owed an explanation of the motivations behind the people
Pointing at O.
that are outside of the democratic model. When you are subverting
emotion and beauty
In his
equal the
nightgown.
body thinking and the mind touching. Reason
We are
nests
all
in
to some
awe.
degree or
The rest
another
is treason.
Brainwashed by the societies we live in.
No duality
its officials a mandate to go ahead.
and the mass emotions of any one time.
Almost impossible to slip.
That falls to
Seem the noblest
Best,
and most beautiful,
she comments.
yet
within a
sitting
year.
at my desk.
The great profile, the death
Supplanted
heads
by
live
some
upper
new
right,
war-fed
which we can visualize
fantasy.
only via a dancing eye pattern,
All the
mimicking
Americans
those
started
unconscious
crying.
flicks or micro
The occasional
saccades,
loud
long
retort
considered
of a backfire
washed over the
actually
camp.
actively controlled by the same spasm that hugs
We're going
eyes
in.
scan these lines.
Rises
And
and
here
walks
it comes,
aside.
UYA.
A future that will never be still or be farther from
They
the truth.
heave A.
Aloft to sea.
Happy tasks for the sorry caged
Enter
animal.
B in his
Dull edges
orchard.
biting into things.
I could see the bright red
Kneeling.
Flush.
spreading over his neck.
It wasn't the men, but
And
their
up.
smell she brought home.
Behind
A
his
scent
ears.
no amount of showering seemed to wash away. Or it was more than a smell, maybe.
Time
As though their
becomes
cries
the
were sunk into her
recognizable with
skin,
which
that
we're most
translucent
involved.
one could see
That
through
last
into the pit.
element to be lined.
On comes
And as a
airborne
species
when
wait at the brink
contains a complexity
of that
sufficient
which
to
will
reduce
free us.
common sense appearance to illusion. The knot tightening at the back of our heads.
What birds sing
At this
Is.
moment, the operation
Is.
floats free from
Is.
reality.
There is no
Moreover, in
more
principle, there is no difference
We can
between
register
a white
than
jacket
this
and a global fix.
or do
Larger,
or
more
fake
pervasive,
at best
before
more
feeling
mind shared
sick.
must be wit.
there is nothing
to transcend,
nothing to
transform,
there's no other
no duality.
in what we form faints.
Queer though, how driving away
We seem to have less than we had driving in.
faints.
She sings.
A bell rings.
Well, let me say then,
Well, let me say
On the
then,
one hand, I practice every precaution,
Give
and
a
on the
word
other, there are
picture.
times when I feel too calm, perhaps.
Well, let me
and
say
begin to
then.
feel small satisfactions. Or I look at those
Give a word
uniformed
picture
toys
of
and
the
feel sorry
emotion.
for them. She writes.
let me
At the
say
same
then,
time,
give a
I wanna
word
laugh at their
picture.
faces, say to them,
A
how
word
stupid you
picture
are.
of the emotion
Whereas
you
the
have
powerful,
just
wittingly circulating not among red people,
Well,
investing in my first.
let me say
But we
then.
mustn't convincing them till in one of
Give
them
a word
my
picture
God
of the
term
emotion we
conditional
have just
lock.
experienced.
Rather, bring them on.
Well, let me say then, give a word picture, a word picture of the emotion.
A word picture of the emotion we have just experienced.
Well, let me say then, give a word picture of the emotion we have just experienced.
You act alone.
You act alone. Well, let me say then, give a word picture of the emotion we have just experienced. You act alone.
Do one wild thing, do thing one wild, wild one, do thing, do one wild, do one wild thing, do one wild thing, do one wild thing, thing one, do one wild thing, do one wild thing, thing one, do one wild thing, do thing one wild, wild one, do thing, do one wild, do one wild, do one wild, do one wild,
End transmission.